Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Coulter Scott. Today, I'll be talking to you guys about understanding my community. My community is USD 437, is the Auburn Washburn School District. We are located in southwest Topeka, Kansas, which happens to also be the capital city. There are also four other high schools located in Topeka, so there are tons of students, tons of needs, tons of wants. And this is my stuff about it. Again, I am the adaptive PE teacher for the school district, so I'm able to bring a little bit more to this community thing because I've been in and out of all of our buildings. So at times, I may be kind of focusing on maybe one individual school. Sometimes it may be more about the overall district, and I'll try to depict that throughout as we go. First off, our vision as a district is we want all students to have a voice, to fulfill their potential, and to realize their dreams. Our vision is to inspire and empower our school community as we embrace exceptional education. And right there in our vision, we go right into this topic of how do we empower our school district's community. And obviously that is out there in the forefront of our district and what we want to try to focus on to make our school district the most successful. Customs and traditions. Very simple stuff. A lot of this really is built around our high school and our secondary school. Few things towards the bottom are some of the things that our primary schools do. Most schools all start out with an open house night, meet the teacher night, good around, meet everybody, get kind of people excited back for the year. We also have in most of the schools some sort of year starter social, which can be the open house night, but even more so they really try to invite people that are new to the district or just want to be more involved with people, more friends to create a community right off the bat. So there's some sort of like ice cream social, just get together, pizza, kind of something like that to bring some community together. Homecoming games. Our high school does a Frostbit Marching Band Day where they practice all beginning of the year and do their band festivals and do their competitions. And then they don't do anything marching band wise until it starts snowing outside. And all of a sudden they all go outside and play their instruments and their stuff one more time. And it seems to be a big hit with our community where they do it during school and then all of a sudden in the evening they'll do it real quick for all their families to see. Hall of Fame inductions, team dinners, fall and spring family events, Halloween, Christmas, holiday, things like that. There's field days. A nearby town, which is part of our district, is Auburn. They have a festival every year. They have craft shows, carnivals, parades, and that is something a big part of our community to look forward to. Population characteristics. We are 7 elementary schools, 1 middle school, and 1 high school. Within the high school, there's also an alternative placing. We also have Tallgrass, which is another alternative placing of students. This is more of students with the high behaviors, but also have IEPs. And Pathways Learning Center is a Kansas residential treatment facility that also follows underneath our umbrella of education because they are within the boundaries of our district. As you can tell from our graphs on the right, we have 3,300 elementary students currently in those 7 buildings. Our middle school is just under 1,000, and then our high school is just under 2,000 students. We currently have about 55 in between Tallgrass and Pathways Learning Center. Brings our total enrollment for all schools to 6,300. So we are a very large school district. We are one of the larger school districts in Kansas. A little bit less than maybe of Kansas City, Olathe metro area schools. At the bottom, we have our graph of the demographics of our school district. White is at 74% compared to the state average of 64%. Hispanic 9% to 20%. Then we also have a bigger population of students with disabilities. In that we have 12% students with disabilities compared to the average of 15%. And then we have 32% of our kids are on free reduced price lunch, which is a bit lower than most districts right around us. Educational wise, based off of our high school rates there at the top, the average ACT score at Washburn Rural is a 23.2. For the state average was the 20.4. Graduation rate last year was a little bit lower than I believe we have the last couple years. I think it did drop down a couple percent based off of some of the things I was reading. We are now at 91.8%, which does move us down a little bit, but we are looking to move that back up very quickly. Our high school does have a very high percentage of students in an International Baccalaureate program, IB program that is just a very, very advanced course. Have to do a lot of extra testing, a lot of extra coursework, and then we also have a very high percentage of students in advanced placement programs. So that could be IB kids, but it's just kind of the next step down from the IB section. Very high achieving state assessment scores the last few years, as the graph on the right says. 3rd through 10th grade took the math and reading assessment. The blue is Auburn-Washburn. The gray is the rest of the state. The other thing I'd like to point out, our secondary schools have kind of adopted a college way of teaching of sorts, or I would guess maybe the grading system would be better to talk about. They consider anything under a C, so anything like 69.5 and below, a non-complete grade. So we're not calling them failing, but that they are not completing their course. So just as in when you get to college, you have to have a C to be able to complete your degree and what is expected of you. Our school is holding some of those standards to kind of help prepare students to be ready for that secondary and post-secondary options. But I also think that correlates a lot with some of these ATC scores, and something about how some of our success rates have been in post-secondary is because we're setting up a little bit of a higher standard from the get-go as soon as they get here as a freshman in high school all the way through their senior year. Communication channels, we are a Google Chrome school district, so we have everything is going through that. Newsletters, emails. The social media aspect of things is really individual groups that use the social media. The district doesn't really use a whole lot of social media besides just the simple videos they put on their district website or newsletters that they send out. Social medias like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and those sort of things, I have not seen a whole lot of. More individual groups, teams, clubs, activities will use that. School websites for every school, they have their own site. Infinite Campus is a huge way where teachers, parents, and students communicate a lot through. It is where they post grades. It's where they're able to inform parents if things have or haven't got turned in. And then our superintendent is big on doing things in person. He is at a ton of our events. He's always been one that he wants to be in the know, but also not by just calling you, emailing you. He wants to come talk to you in person, which I think if that's where he sets the precedence and able to do that, it helps the rest of us. Community groups. Each school has their own PTO. There's room parents. There's booster clubs. Parent groups for each activities. We have certain groups that do concessions. We also have groups that clean up after events. Yes, we have a janitorial staff. We have people that help at the school and work, but there's also crews after games that will stick around and help clean up to assist in that community and keeping our facilities nicer and cleaner quickly instead of waiting for the next day to get things picked up. Leadership from where we're seeing things and where people are involved. People that are helping us is the governor of Kansas, with us being right here in Topeka, in the state capital. They have been a big part of our school. Summit County Health Department, Banks, Goodyear Tires and Rubber, who has a company here in Topeka, Evergy, the Topeka Chamber of Commerce, and the Boys and Girls Club. And I feel like the Boys and Girls Club does a lot of hands-on with our students, a lot of before and after school programming. one I do think I did forget to put on here was the YMCA. They also are a big connection and help for us. Political structure, obviously, kind of from the top bottom, it kind of goes from governor. Then we have a mayor that also steps in and comes in and talks to us. Also in Topeka, we have the Kansas Department of Education. So they're kind of at our back door to be able to help with different things and figure out when we need things to happen. We have our Auburn-Washburn School Board, and our superintendent of schools are kind of where we are with that. Previous community efforts. The last bond issue that I know that Auburn-Washburn had was about 12 years ago, I believe is what it was. And it passed. They got a lot of solid things, additions to the school, as in adding to buildings, curriculum, and providing a much safer and better place for our students and staff and community to be able to call home and be proud of. We are actually currently already in the bond issue right now. It's been interesting to see talking through this stuff for this course, but also go into effect of how do we get this stuff done. So seeing this process happening from the beginning of the school year to now has been very interesting. Currently, they're trying to get a bond passed. They want just updates to every single building. They're trying to create more of a CTE learning facility at our high school. They would also like to get a swimming pool. Swimming pool has been something that has been on the community's minds in the past, just something that has not gotten passed based off of some of the city of Topeka rules and where they have placed some of the other swimming pools in town. Also, the plan to get started a second middle school to help thin out maybe some of the elementary schools and redivide up our locations of where kids are at. Also, based off where our high school is at, it is about 3 miles kind of outside of the main town of Topeka. It's not hard to get to, but also at times you always have to go somewhere to get something. So there have been ideas for community efforts on service stations, restaurants, and those have kind of been shot down a little bit. I did not dig too deep into figuring out why on those yet, but something I would look forward to doing. And then overall, just previously, community efforts have been just building improvements on all of the schools, when you're able to or when you're not able to do that. Power structure, there's just a chain of command. Then this is kind of upheld. It kind of has a bridge between more of our high school crew here. When things arise, teachers need to go to the department head. Then it goes, if we got to keep going things through, we have department head, assistant principal, building principal, district office supervisor, superintendent, and then the school board if we have to make it that far. But this is kind of the chain of command that goes throughout every building. It adjusts just a little bit depending on where you're at and what level, and also obviously the importance of the need that's at hand. Multicultural issues. The way we kind of deal with this, and I don't want to say deal is not the right term to use for that, but work with this is we have built into the curriculum kind of at the primary and a little bit of the secondary level of, there's kind of awareness month, which is kind of what our community and our world does to make people aware of these different things. But we also allow students to write things in on the calendar with a teacher about, why they're writing things in, why they want to learn about it. And we also have them help teach some of those activities. So these are just the calendar of dates of events. Based off of dress code, things like that. Our dress code does not discriminate against any garments worn or people that would like to represent their culture. And then our district does not have a uniform for the school. The only uniform that is required is at the secondary level. There is a PE uniform for a couple of the grade levels. Overall, another way that we help eliminate issues is bringing speakers from all different backgrounds to speak to our students at all different ages about themselves or about events that have happened. Public opinion, I believe, about our school district is that it's a positive opinion overall, as probably a lot of us in the last couple of years because of COVID-19. There have been brought plenty of other opinions about how things should be handled. I don't know if that has always been about how education should be handled or how we're doing things, or about how we're doing to prevent things during this pandemic. Of course, some of it has been based around a lot of our um, going online teaching at times and how that looks, and if that is really benefiting our students and our teachers or not. So overall, I believe our district has a very positive outlook from our community and our stakeholders. Um, Also, to get our stakeholders better understanding what's going on in the public education is best for us to be engaging with them and being open to the community. Let them be heard by us, and we hear them to see how things are going. Be transparent where we are allowed to be transparent, and even on those things that we can't be fully see through, make sure we're talking about it, making sure we're informing them about all aspects of the education system. Correlating this assignment to PLO 5, it really just made looking deeper into the inner workings of the school district, things that aren't always right there on the cover of stuff. You really had to scroll back into some of the district web pages and find out some of this information. It's all out there, but not all something that is just right there. And being able to find this information definitely helps with talking about how to get people engaged in the community, and what level it comes from, talking about the politics of it and how people outside the school district but also make a lot of decisions for our district, and how that helps our community grow or could hinder things at times. Obviously, this is a great thing that's going to help all of us become better leaders in our own right, discussing how each of us are able to do certain things, how people outside of the school are able to come help the school district financially, volunteering, and being part of a team to really help support our schools and our businesses around us and help our kids become better people. Overall, these are my references. Thank you for taking time to listen and read through my presentation. This was about my community at Auburn Washburn School District.